Welcome to Up to the Minute. It is Wednesday, August the 2nd. We're in the middle of the week already. Glad to have you with us on the show today. We've got a great lineup for the next half hour or so. And towards the end of the show, we'll have our HCC news and announcements with Brittany Pacheco. She joins us now. And Brittany, you got yourself a full-blown studio at your house today.
I know. The nerd room is still, behind me, but I finally got my stand for my green screen because I've been dying to use it, of course. So yeah, I had to make it a little reminiscent of our podcast studio back home at the HCCTV studio. So we're going to kick off with our Up to the Minute about social media. We're going to talk about a little bit about social media. As always, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And don't forget about our YouTube channel. Hit subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be the first to find out the latest episodes from us here. And last but not least, we need your help as the audience to help share this information by sharing this podcast so that we can grow our audience, but also more importantly, share this great information to the masses.
That's right, Brittany. You're inspiring me to bring back the green screen. I think I'm going to have to do so myself. One-upping me out there.
Hey, I can send you this this virtual background, so it looks like we're in the same place, Todd.
There you go. Well, we'll see what we can do there. We've got some guests on the show today. Of course, it's Wednesday. It's always Brittany's favorite day of the show because Chief Greg Cunningham is here to join us. Chief, welcome back to the show. I know you were on vacation last week.
Yeah, I sure was. Had a great time, but back in the saddle and ready to come to work again.
All right. Well, thanks for being here, Chief. We're going to be with you in just a few moments. But our first guest is from our dance program, the HCC Visual and Performing Arts Center of Excellence. Maggie Lasher joins us on the show. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We want to get to you and talk about the online learning that you're offering now through the dance program. But first, I want to ask you about some of the things you've been doing with some innovative virtual dance performances since the spring. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that.
Yes. You're asking on the personal level.
Yes, on your personal level. I know you got a few things you've been doing yourself.
Yeah, I have a few things in the fire. Yes. So for this, really since COVID happened, something I do a lot of is I obviously am a dance professor, but I also perform and teach prop work at different festivals around the United States. And of course that was completely shut down and moved online. So I have had some opportunities to do some amazing online classes, Zoom meetings just like this, where you're sitting in my dance studio, or you're in my dance studio, believe it or not, at my house. So I've have the whole room set up to be able to teach dance out of it and to teach prop work. And then I made a bunch of different film shorts that were presented as the performances, because obviously those are virtual too.
Right.
So that was really exciting to do, because I've always worked in a medium of live theater. And so to switch that around and do it dance for camera, and learn that whole tech side of it too, of creating a film, was something different.
And I read something about a virtual fire performance with one of your former HCC students. Maybe you could tell us about that.
One of the things we did, one of the things I submitted for is, virtual Burning Man is virtual this year, which is crazy. And that is, of course, a big fire performance event. We were supposed to perform there with fire. And so we went back and we made a virtual film to submit for their performances. We will be performing live for them with fire as well, which it opens up to be able to perform for a live audience with fire. The permitting, the insurance, the routes I have to go through to be able to do that are steep. But when you do it, you can legally burn in your backyard. So
who knew?
Yeah, right? Just like you can have a fire pit in your backyard, you can spin fire in your backyard if you know what you're doing and have the proper precautions in place. So
You
Sometimes
mentioned Burning Man is online this year. It's a virtual festival, as we're seeing a lot of the festivals go online, or in some cases, unfortunately, canceled. It's hard to say how long this is going to last, but do you see this as being the wave of at least the next 18 months as to how are we doing things?
I am hoping, I'm a big hoping not. I'm hoping that by the spring we start to see some normalcy. The huge festivals and those sorts of things, I don't know. I worry, but I feel like smaller events, smaller theatrical presentations without the huge theaters, I hope to see us back soon in the next few months.
We're all hoping for that, to see some live music and live performances. Let's talk about the degrees that are offered and certifications through HCC. With your dance program, is it a 2-year degree? Can you transfer to a university? How does that work?
Yes, it is a 2-year degree, and it can be all completed in 2 years. And then it is easily transferable. So if a student wants to go on, whether they want to do dance or not, but they can get their AA in dance at HCC, and then they can transfer, particularly if they transfer in Texas, and there are a lot of universities that have a 4-year dance degree in Texas. For the most part, then they're going to have a seamless transition. And of course, we're working with the different 4-year universities in Texas to make sure that when our HCC dance majors come to them, it is as seamless as possible so that they can just get going as juniors and seniors in those new programs.
And moving on from dancing, once you complete your degree, are there jobs available? I know HCC certainly has a crown jewel in our cap with dancers like Lauren Anderson, who's a proud HCC former student. But are there jobs available in the Houston and Texas markets that are available for our graduates?
There definitely are. I think we get hung up on that, oh, if I get a dance degree, I'm trying to be a professional dancer, like go out and perform and get paid to perform. And honestly, that career path is fairly limited. However, with a dance degree, there are numerous other things you can do. A lot of people teach. They go into teaching, whether it's college or high schools or elementary schools or private studios. And those can be very nice careers. There's writing careers available for dancers. There's also choreography, and choreography goes into many different gamuts, whether it's for the theater or it's for musicals or it's for television, commercials. So there's quite a large gamut for choreography and for teaching. There's also writing careers. We never have enough people to discuss dance and write about dance, and people are looking for people to write about dance in a critique sort of fashion and different other ways. Also, people get very creative in the arts, and they do a lot of freelance careers, or where you can pick up different jobs along the way, and they make great careers out of that. Teaching, having workshops, performing, all of those good things kind of wrapped up.
Tell us about the transition to online learning now that COVID has hit us. So everything's been different for all of us since about middle of March. How are things working with the dance program in that transition?
Well, it's been very interesting because, as you can imagine, it's pretty tough for us to switch to online learning 100%. But we have done what we can with it. And I think we've made some interesting discoveries, as well as still be able to keep a viable program going. We have had to make adjustments how we can teach a physical dance class without physically being in front of our students. And that has been interesting. We have had to just not offer a couple classes, which will be totally coming back. But for the safety of the students of trying to dance in their homes and us trying to teach it, it wasn't the best choice. But we still have many, 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 many dance classes. And then our performances are all online. And so to me, that's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm really interested I love live performance, but the streaming or the virtual performance is interesting in how it can reach more audiences. And then we're learning about dance for camera. So we're learning about film work, and it's just a whole new world.
The dance for camera, is that playing a bigger role now than it did before March?
I would think so. I mean, it forced me into, I had actually taken the digital storytelling training with HCC and learned the WeVideo and learned those programs. And I'm so glad I did, because now I find I am in a position that I'm going to be sharing that and teaching that to students, the WeVideo platform. So
where do you see things going? Hopefully we'll be back in the buildings around October 5th with some students coming back in. What is your vision moving forward in this post-COVID world? There's a lot of uncertainties out there, but what's your vision?
I would like to see us getting slowly back into face-to-face teaching. But I hope that we can bring, for myself, I've been trying to take notes of what are the things we can learn from that. What are the positives of having all of this? And I do think the dance for camera and those technologies are one of the big positives that I'm taking. So while I'm excited to have live performance again and to be back in the studio with students, I don't think that the camera work and the film work and just the social media and using those technologies are going to fade. I would like to keep some of that dance for camera with us after this. But I would like to start getting in the studio again.
Well, it's certainly a new world we're moving into, and I know you're looking forward to getting back in the buildings with your students. We appreciate you being here on the show and bringing us up to date with the dance program, and we look forward to talking with you again in the future.
Of course. Thank you very much.
Thanks for being here. We'll have a link to the Center of Excellence where Maggie works, and also the dance program in the post for this show. Thanks again, Maggie. Talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you.
And we're going to move across town. Chief Greg Cunningham joins us. Chief, you picked a good week to go on vacation last week. We had a bit of a busy week around here, a little of uncertainty.
Yeah, exactly. To be honest with you, I wasn't sure I was going to be able to get away. I thought I'd have to come back for the storm, but
yeah.
I was lucky. Listening to Maggie's conversation was interesting. Her comment about Burning Man going virtual this year. The first year I have tickets for Burning Man, it goes virtual. So I won't buy tickets. You were going to
Burning Man? Wait a second here.
Yeah,
you're going to go to Burning Man.
Goes there every year and said, I can't live without it.
Oh, wow.
Let's do it this year. And lo and behold, they canceled the whole darn thing. So I'm not supposed to be at Burning Man, apparently. And I'm going to stay home next year so you guys can all go.
Maybe they'll hold it next year as well. So, Chief, let me ask you, we want to cover some things, but first things first, expired student IDs. Imagine this is going to be an issue that students may be facing.
Yeah, absolutely. So COVID strikes again, right? Everybody knows that student IDs have been made at the campuses for students, basically whenever they needed them. And they all had expiration dates on them. So now we're getting a crunch, right? The time has kind of come because we're not opening all of our campuses to everyone yet. Some students are really starting to run into some issues. So there's really two major pieces here. So number one, if you are a student who's involved in a program, something like nursing, where you need to go down to the medical center for your clinicals, or a program like that where part of your certificate or degree means you have to interface with some entity outside of HCC, then we can get you guys a updated ID. Reach out to your coordinator for your program, and that coordinator will get an appointment for you so that you can get a fresh ID. So that's only the people that are having to go outside of HCC. The folks that have expired IDs, but it's just about getting access to campus or getting access to programs. We have hereby today declared that, just like the state of Texas, we're going to allow expired IDs to just ride until we get back on campus again. So for those students that are coming to HCC for maybe truck driving or automotive or whatever, where it's all internal, those IDs aren't going to be a problem. It's only if you're doing clinicals or you're working with an outside entity. So
Okay.
I hope that clears that up a little bit, and it takes some stress off the students, because we've gotten a ton of phone calls. Folks are really worried about it.
Chief, I know last time we talked, we had some students on campuses still completing their lab work from the spring sessions. Has that worked out now, and do we still have some of those students on campuses?
Yeah, so there's still a couple of those classes finishing up. The whole piece of that was that they cut it into phases so that we could keep the class counts where we needed them, right? Like under 10 in a classroom. So there's still a few that are there finishing up right now. I think they are, well, in fact, it's September 1. You know what? They may have finished just last week. So we're getting ready to talk to our fall students now, people in those same kind of programs that are going to need to come back in early October.
I know we've got some videos running in social media to let students know what it's going to look like when we return back to campuses, but there's some screening and protocols that are in place, which people need to know, whether you're students, faculty, or staff, and you're returning to a campus in the next month or so.
Yeah, so a couple of things, and bear in mind, there's going to be a ton of help there. So don't be uncomfortable with this situation. There's going to be a lot of people out there to help get you directed right, but where before you used to be able to just come on campus and kind of go into the building however you chose to, right now, because of the screening process, right, everybody's going to get channeled to where the screening is occurring, right? So you're not going to be able to just walk in through random doors. You're going to have to go to an entry point. The screening is going to be actually online, and you can do it before you ever get there, right? It sends you a message in the morning, and you answer the questions that say, I'm healthy and life is good. And they send you a QR code or a little barcode kind of thing. When you show up, they look at your barcode. It means that you're good for today. They take your temperature with a touchless thermometer and give you an armband, and you're in. It won't be anything really invasive. It'll just be a little different, and having the right entrance is going to be the real key. So as you prepare to come back, depending upon what facility it is, you're going to want to pay attention to where's the screening checkpoint and how do I get there, right?
And certainly look for the streamlined process for what you're talking about with downloading that information before you get to the campus.
Yeah, absolutely. They've really done a ton of work on that this summer. You know, the working with these spring folks, they were really kind of our guinea pigs, right? We tried a lot of different approaches. Some of them worked really, really great. Some of them were like not so great, right? So we have now got a really clean, neat looking process. It works really well. The cleaning protocols between classes is that everybody's going into a fresh classroom. I mean, we've got this. We clearly are ready, and we need you guys to come on back now and start getting this stuff done.
Chief, when you first started appearing on our show, we were talking about parking permits, and here we are once again going into a new semester, and it's also a subject to bring up in getting a new parking permit.
Yeah, so a couple of things changed, right? And it was changing right before COVID, and that's what we were talking about, but then COVID's happened. So let me remind everybody what that's all about. So starting this year, everybody needs a parking permit, right? Students need a parking permit, and faculty and staff. If you go to the police website, on the HCC website, and we're listed way down at the bottom of the main page, it just says police department down there. Click on that, and it'll take you to our parking site. It asks you some questions about your car, license plate number, that kind of thing. And we ask you to register your car, and then you can print your parking permit right there, right? And just display it on your dashboard, or we've got these little hang tags. You can hang it from your rearview mirror. And we give those away to you for free. So when you get on campus, you can have those. I'm asking you to please do that. We will be ticketing this year. We will be booting cars this year, and we will be towing cars this year. It's really about trying to protect the parking for our students, faculty, and staff. we found last year with some surveys that we'd done, we had a lot of squatters, right? People that didn't want to pay for parking downtown, so they parked on HCC sites and took trains or buses or whatever. So we're trying to discourage that from happening this year, so our students have it really easy to get in, park, and do the things they need to do.
And finally, Chief, we want to talk about with the parking permits. We want to protect our parking lots, but we also want to protect our students. And one way of doing that is being aware of your surroundings. And you've got some tips and some things you want to let students know.
Yeah, so normally when we're not dealing with COVID, we have a ton of people at our schools, right? You guys all know the hallways are crowded, the parking lots are crowded. But because COVID is making us do things just a little different and keeping class sizes a little smaller, the concern I have is that you don't get that herd protection, right? When there are a ton of people around, you're a lot more safe because everybody is paying attention. Now what happens is you've got a few less people around. So for that, I'm asking that everybody has some situational awareness, right? I'm going to ask you to be very, very diligent when you're walking through those parking lots. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Just because there are fewer people out there, right? It's an environment where you need to pay a little bit better attention. Make sure that you are taking care of yourself. You can't depend on that herd protection as much.
Some good points. HCC Police Chief Greg Cunningham joining us every Wednesday. Chief, thanks for being here today.
Hey, it's a pleasure, and I look forward to seeing you again next week. Y'all hang in there, and it's hot out there. Take care of yourselves. Drink some water.
It certainly is hot. Chief, take care. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
All right, on to Brittany Pacheco. Of course, Brittany, we've got some HCC news and announcements to get on with. But first thing we want to say, we had him on the show yesterday, but guess what? Rec Sports is back.
It certainly is, Todd. It was great having Demetrius on the show yesterday to talk firsthand about what HCC Rec Sports and Athletics are up to. So we've talked about this for free events for the fall, including boot camp, Zumba on Zoom, as you like to call it, and twerk fitness, which sounds insane in my opinion, but students and staff can participate in Madden 20 Gamer League, which is happening very soon, and also the NBA Bracket Challenge. So there are prizes available, and there's also a new game that's called A Minute to Win It. So in case you are interested in any one of these events that I just mentioned, be sure to watch yesterday's episode of Up to the Minute, which was September 1st. And you can also go like the Instagram and Facebook page for HCC Athletics, which is HCCS Athletics. And you can also email them at sports@hccs.edu. And also Rec Sports is offering officiating course. So if you're interested in becoming a referee or an umpire, like our very own Frank Cooper, there are holding classes Mondays and Wednesdays beginning September 9th through November 12th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. This is for football, basketball, baseball, and it's open to the community at just $79. It's a great opportunity. If you're interested, once again, to reffing sports, you can email joseph.harris@hccs.edu if you're interested.
We've got something new called Student Coffee Talk Q&A. Those are going to be happening now. We encourage our students to join us for some information. Today at noon, the bookstore staff will be offering information on locating the books you need, reserving a book, how to pay for a textbook using financial aid and grants, all those questions, noon today with the bookstore. And also at 2 p.m., financial aid, Brittany, they'll be answering questions as well.
Definitely. Financial aid is always a hot topic for students, and they are going to answer the most asked questions regarding financial aid. So future topics are going to include counseling, career services, library, what's going on with the library, and tutoring. So be sure to check that out. You can do so by heading to hcc.presence.io/events. We'll be sure to leave that link here in this post.
Also, faculty and staff for HCC, we have virtual coffee breaks with Janet May, Chief Human Resources Officer. She holds those a couple times a week. The next one is 11 a.m. tomorrow. And the guest, we all know him, we all love him, Carl Mays is going to be on the show tomorrow, Brittany.
It's going to be lit, as the kids say. It's going to be live with Carl Mays. He's one of our student life coordinators. He's an MC. He loves to have a good time, of course. And so if you're interested in checking out virtual coffee breaks with Janet May and Carl Mays tomorrow, that's kind of funny, May and Mays, be sure to check it out tomorrow, Thursday, September 3rd at 11 a.m. You can find the link in your HCC email. Be sure you grab your coffee, your juice, milk, water, soda, whatever it is you drink in the morning to get you going. But be sure to check out tomorrow's virtual coffee break. It's going to be a good one. You don't want to miss it.
It will be a good one. Of course, that's tomorrow. Today and happening now, right now. In fact, as students, if you're having problems connecting to Wi-Fi or connecting virtually, internet connections, well, HCC is offering outdoor Wi-Fi zones on our campuses. Now, our buildings are remaining closed, but the parking lot resources will be offered as outdoor Wi-Fi zones, and they're available to connect students to the internet, Brittany. Now, a few things to keep in mind. You won't have access to the buildings. Make sure you use the facilities, as Brittany likes to say, before you come to the campus. In other words, take a potty break before. And you will not have access to outlets to charge your cell phone or computer devices. So watch out for that. There is one-stop shopping, hccs.edu/outdoor Wi-Fi. That's where you go for all the information.
Definitely, Todd. And while we're talking about online related items, we do have a service toolkit for students who need a one-stop guide for technology, textbooks, tutoring, and much, much more. So you can head over to hccs.edu/online-toolkit to check out those resources today. We're trying to make things easy for our students who, at this time, of course, all of our classes are 100% online, and the Flex Campus and lab-based courses will hopefully return for in-person sessions beginning October 5th. But in the meantime, students, you all have access to this amazing toolkit right at your fingertips 24/7.
That's right, Brittany. And students, if you have questions from tutoring or anything really, you want financial aid questions answered, maybe questions about registration for Second Start, which starts, I believe, on the 21st of this month, you can visit the HCC virtual student lobby. It's very easy to find. You can visit with student services in a couple of ways, one through Zoom, a callback, or an email. They're open extended hours, Brittany, but from what I understand, there's a lot of questions being fielded right now. So just be patient a little bit.
Absolutely, Todd. I mean, when we started our semester, unfortunately, we were here for just 2 days before we had to close our operations due to preparation for Hurricane Laura. So I know our staff are working so diligently to get back to those individuals who they weren't originally able to. So we appreciate everyone who is reaching out to have their questions asked, but we really appreciate the patience you all are exhibiting at this time so we can do our part to make sure that all of our students are serviced at this time. But as Todd said, you do have your callback option as well as email. It might take a little longer than 2 business days as they have on the website. So once again, your patience is greatly appreciated. And don't forget to head over to hccs.edu/virtual lobby today to get in line to have your questions answered.
That's right. COVID testing is still happening around the district. We've got 4 HCC sites. You can visit. We'll have the links to those sites and the information on the post for this show. We're about to wrap this show up, Brittany, but tomorrow we've got Michael Ross of the Architectural Design and Construction Center of Excellence on the show, and it's Virtual Family Fun Day.
It's one of my favorite days, Todd. I love talking to different museums and such around the country. Tomorrow we're going to be joined by from Sausalito, California, Marine Mammal Center. So if you're interested in anything and everything that's marine mammal based, this is going to be a great show for you to check out. So like us on our social media pages, don't forget YouTube, and don't forget to share this podcast on your personal Facebook page.
Thank you, Brittany, and thank all of you for joining us today. We will see you tomorrow, back for more fun, more HCC news and announcements right here on Up to the Minute, live at 10 a.m.